And now, yes, now, it is time to get into it. It is time to look at the second largest cryptocurrency on planet Earth. It is time to try and predict the price. Guys, my last prediction were far undervalued, okay? Can it be $5,000 Ethereum? Can it be an $8,000 Ethereum? Is it gonna be $15,000, $20,000 Ethereum? The gains in this market are unmatched. There is nothing on planet Earth that will get you the returns of cryptocurrency. And guys, I have called it. I have screamed it at the top of my lungs. I've told pretty much everyone I know it is altcoin season. And the big boy altcoin, the big kahuna, has been taking over the market. If you haven't experienced it in the last couple of days, it's up like 30%. I have a lot of money in Ethereum, so we need to explore this topic. It's been out competing the other layer ones, Cardano. All the lower market caps have been dominated. So in this video here, I will be going into exactly what the price can be. I'll be going over the recent developments, Ethereum 2.0. Why has the price increased recently? What is it going to be in the future? All of those questions answered and more. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another video, and obviously, as you can see, I'm extremely excited. I have a good percentage of my portfolio, like one of the biggest percentages in my portfolio in Ethereum. So if you haven't recently been witnessing this greatness, the Ethereum Web 3.0 application has been going parabolic, up like 30-40% in the past month or so, outcompeted Bitcoin and pretty much a lot of the big coins. Okay, guys, it's crazy what Ethereum has recently done. We're going to go over exactly why. What is the catalyst behind that? Also, I'm going to go over the developments of Ethereum, Ethereum 2.0, optimism, all the new scaling solutions that Ethereum has to offer. We're also going to be going into network effects. Can a coin come and just beat Ethereum, take over its market share? Guys, I have some scientific papers, some scientific research. I'm not just talking on the internet. We're backing up everything with facts, and that's what all we do on this channel. So if you could do us both a favor, hit that subscribe button and feel free to take a deep breath and smash the like button as hard as you can without breaking your computer. Please just do that for me, because these videos need to get more exposure. Guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alex. I got the beautiful mustache, and we tell the truth on the internet. I don't accept sponsorships from pretty much anybody. I do not accept any sponsorships from any platform, any coin, which allows me to have unbiased research. I tell the truth, the total truth, or so God help me. And I'm telling you right now, this is what separates me as a channel. I will make live mistakes on here. I am a human just like you, unscripted. Nobody does the research for me. All of my content is original and thoughtful. I dive deep, deeper than anyone I have ever known in cryptocurrency. And you could tell all of them I don't care. I don't care, guys. I need you to unsubscribe from pretty much everybody, because what I've been seeing is some BS. And I'm tired of it, and I'm making a stand right here. The information provided in these videos are unmatched. I am the greatest cryptocurrency YouTuber. And I'm just hyping it up too much. Let's jump into the video. So first thing I want to show you guys, if we come over here, is this is the developments of the internet, right? And the reason why this is important is because, yes, Bitcoin is the standard. It's kind of like the gold, right? It's a hedge against monetary inflation. It has the properties to play as a sound money. It's a sound money. Ethereum is completely different. Ethereum is, a lot of people consider it like the gas of the internet, and they actually literally have gas. Bitcoin, if it plays as gold and it serves as a hedge against monetary inflation, the internet's bigger. The market caps of the biggest internet companies are far bigger than market cap of gold. So a lot of people anticipate that Ethereum potentially could pass Bitcoin, could be the #1 coin. Honestly, like now that I'm thinking about it more and more, I'm on that boat. Now, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not an Ethereum maximalist. I'm looking at this from a very logical perspective. If you really think about the world markets, gold is not the biggest world market. There's others that are going to come swoop in that will be captured in Ethereum potentially. If Ethereum is the winner layer 1 solution, okay? If Ethereum happens to be, you know, the Web3 kind of like app for the internet, and it keeps playing the role it's played, then it could easily pass Bitcoin by market capitalization. And there's been times in the past, in 2017, where it got very close to passing Bitcoin by market capitalization. So I want to show you guys kind of a visual representation of the internet, right? The growth of the internet. Look at this, right? It's parabolic growth. And not only is it parabolic growth, but it's actually still growing. As you can see, the users, there's only about 60% of the world's on the internet. So As you can see here, only 4.76 billion people around the world use the internet as of April 2021. That's more than 60%. But in these third world countries and places that don't have access to the internet, they're gradually getting the technology, which is going to be more eyeballs for YouTube. It's going to be more people jumping into, applications, which is more growth for the internet in general, as well as Web 3.0 or Ethereum, right? And these applications, these smart contract, decentralization, it's more adoption. The adoption is ridiculous. It honestly, now I think about it more and more, Bitcoin cannot compete. It's almost impossible because the usage, the killer applications, right? Which if you look at, for example, DeFi right now is considered one of the bigger killer applications. Look at NFTs, look at all these new things, these new developments coming out. There's just no possible way that Bitcoin can keep up. It's a sound money and it plays its role, right? As a sound money. And I have a lot of that sound money. I hold Bitcoin all the time. But we have to look at the facts here. And the facts say that everything else is bigger. The world is bigger than just sound money. So I genuinely think we could see a parabolic rise by percentages. If you want to just like pick a coin to hold and not worry about anything, Ethereum is probably your best bet. Bitcoin will increase and you're pretty safe with Bitcoin, but Ethereum is going to increase by larger percentages, guys. So just pay attention to what's really going on in the developments and innovations. Innovations where it's really at, right? What they're doing is absolutely insane. Now, this is one of the original from the beginning. This is like on forms with Vitalik Buterin, which is actually the world's youngest billionaire right now. Does that sound familiar? When Facebook came out, Mark Zuckerberg was the world's youngest billionaire. Now we have the creator of the Web 3.0, Ethereum, being the world's youngest billionaire. Does that ring bells, right? Let's kind of read the first post ever from January 23rd in 2014. When the grand experiment that is Bitcoin began, the anonymous wizard desired to test two parameters: a trustless, decentralized database enjoying security enforced by the Azure relentlessness of cryptography and a robust transaction system capable of sending value across the world without intermediaries. Yet the past 5 years have painfully demonstrated a third missing feature: a sufficiently powerful Turing-complete script language. Up until this point, most innovation in advanced applications such as domain and identity registration, user-issued currency, smart property, smart contract, and decentralized exchange has been highly fragmented, and implementing any of these technologies required creating an extra meta. Long story short, they needed to make something that was all integrated. As you can see from the first post, this was like a big experiment. This was like just a massive experiment at first, but the developments of Ethereum have gone a long way. And recently, if we look at the price of Ethereum, you can see we've been going pretty much parabolic in the past couple of weeks, like just straight up, right? Now, we originally called this price on the channel here. We got to 2,700, rejected off. And since then, just up, like guys, look at these percentage increases. 55% in 10 days. Now, this looking like a low market cap gem right now. And to be honest with you, I've always, in 2017, 2018, it was kind of my goal to outcompete Bitcoin. I was like, if you're not outcompeting Bitcoin, you're wasting your time because Bitcoin's safe, right? And you're taking on all this extra risk, trying to play with these altcoins, but Bitcoin's increasing by larger percentages, right? Now, my goal is to outcompete Ethereum. And some of these coins are not doing that, right? Ethereum still being number 2 is increasing by large percentages. Now, okay, I genuinely think it's probably because of retail adoption, institutional adoption coming together. Now, I'll back that up with evidence, but there's a quick thing I want to show you. Gold and Apple, Microsoft, all these things, they have market cap. And Ethereum is now passing Home Depot, Bank of America, these big places, PayPal, right? They even passed the market cap of Platinum, which is absolutely ridiculous because Ethereum can technically hold and house all of these different businesses. Ethereum is a smart contract platform. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, essentially it allows people to create applications similar to like your operating system. Now, that's not the best kind of like, comparison, but as your operating system has apps, Ethereum has decentralized apps that can be used in a variety of different cases. Pretty much every single case on planet Earth can be used on Ethereum. Now, they obviously have issues with scalability, right? Transaction fees, transaction speed, but it's actively being solved. And the network effects of Ethereum have been a long time, I guess you could say, argument for myself to why I would never just sell all my Ethereum. I never sold all my Ethereum. But what I did is I hold a good bag always. And in this case, you guys know I've been screaming on the internet for the past like month or so, especially in my fundamental secrets group. I've been telling people get rid of Bitcoin. And even if you would have just bought, Ethereum, you would have been really well off. But the one thing I really want to point out is it's flipping market caps, guys. It's flipping market caps and becoming a really big thing. As you can see, Bitcoin is top 8 in the world. Now, Ethereum could potentially get to the same boat, if not pass it. So the percentage gains are really big. Now, here's Mark Cuban talking about the value of cryptocurrency. I'm not going to read this, but you can obviously see that we have bigger people jumping in, guys. People that previously have talked negative about cryptocurrencies and decentralization, now making a headway and promoting it publicly through its NFTs. Some people are just promoting it because they bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin, Ethereum. But long story short, the adoption this time is much bigger than it was in 2017. So it's going to lead to some of the conclusions for our price prediction and why I think I underestimated it before. There's a couple of other price prediction videos I've made where we talk about Ethereum potentially hitting anywhere from 5 to 10K. I think that might be a little bit of an underestimation. And I'll show you exactly how I come to these conclusions towards the end of the video. We're just going to go over some of the developments. As you can see, we're having, big European kind of from the European Investment Bank saying the technology is revolutionary. We have all these people coming out. Now, the one thing I just want to be very clear with you guys, this is Ethereum search term. So essentially, when I'm looking at Google Trends, this is the amount of different people that type in Ethereum on Google. Now, the important part to see here is that we have gotten very close to reaching the all-time high of 2017. Not really. As you can see, there's like a kind of slight, we're not exactly. We're really close though. It's like 97% compared to 100. It hasn't passed it, which doesn't really make sense in terms of adoption because it should be more. Ethereum should have more searches if the price has passed the all-time high, which in 2017 it was like $2,000. We're currently sitting at $3,500. The price passed its all-time high, but we're not getting as many searches. We should be getting more. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because large institution, not retail, but institutional adoption has been relentless with Bitcoin and specifically Ethereum and some other altcoins. These guys are starting to realize that Bitcoin's not the only cryptocurrency. There's other cryptos. They're starting to flock in. Now, this is a really good sign because this is also adding, to my thesis that we're very early on. Institutions are not just buying cryptocurrency, hoping to sell with a 20% gain. These guys are buying, and they're not buying the top. It's like, I know for a fact, these guys have billions of dollars, in some cases like 100 million, 200 million, 300 million dollars. They're not going to buy the top. They're smart money. They're getting in the hopes to like double, triple, quadruple their money. It's still early. Now, when you see institutions stop buying, that's a red flag. So we're seeing large institutions, retail hasn't come in. As you can see from the search volume, people have been fighting this for some reason. I have no idea why. I saw a lot of other YouTubers saying, oh, retail doesn't need to come in. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. They're promoting NFTs all over the internet. Every influencer known to man has been contacting me trying to figure out how to drop their own NFT. The valuation of NFTs compared to what these guys make is astronomical. They're cutting the middleman out. These influencers want a piece of the pie, and still institutional adoption are continuing to buy, right? Smart money is continuing to buy. There is going to be retail. Retail will come in. And if anybody says otherwise, they obviously don't know what they're talking about. If we look at on-chain metrics, we're looking at the NVT, which is basically network value to transactions. The amount of transactions that are happening to how much the coin is worth. As you can see, it's decreasing, which is a bullish sign. Let's read from here. As ETH price reaches over 3,000, setting an all-time high, the NVT ratio is driven back down towards its cycle lows. Low NVT ratios indicate transaction volumes are high and growing faster than the network market cap. Today's market cap strength is supported by volume settled on chain. Now, the important part to understand is that we're getting more transactions, and the price compared to the price is not as much as it should be. It's showing a lot of fundamental basis. In 2017, we had ICOs. We had a lot of speculation. People were making promises. Now we have real products and utilization. We have decentralized finance that's offering yield at a higher percentage than anything else in traditional finance. We have rich billionaires and millionaires not knowing what to put their money with this monetary inflation. They want to get, 15% APY on, MakerDAO or something, right? Or Celsius or whatever the case is. They want to get this yield because they're looking to basically protect their money. Their goal is not to like 20x their money. What their goal is just to make sure there's no erosion. Now, we see that the purchasing power of the dollar has been losing. We've been losing a lot of value. They're printing it into oblivion, which adds to my case. These guys are using decentralized finance as a way to hedge against that. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Bitcoin's a hedge against that. But if you're getting like if you get a stable coin and you're getting yield, if you get like USDC, which is the ERC20 token, this is on the Ethereum blockchain, ERC20, right? You can get like 15% APY, 10 to 15%. To them, that's ridiculous. They freak out with 15% APY. What I'm explaining to you is that not only do we have speculation in these markets, but we also have real value, which we need to take in consideration. April, Ethereum has again outcompeted pretty much every single coin, including Bitcoin, or not every coin, excuse me. The S&P 500 gold bonds. People are looking at this, right? They're looking at this. They're like, what is this Ethereum? They're understanding that it has much more use case than Bitcoin, and there's much more to adopt, and they're flocking in. This is where institutional demand is coming from. If we look at more on-chain metrics, let's just let it load. The balance on exchanges has been decreasing. As you can see from right here, when it decreases, the price goes up because people are holding more and more of it. And it has every reason to decrease because they're sending it to these decentralized application to gain yield or yield farm or whatever the case is. A lot of people consider yield like the specific opportunity of being able to get percentages on your money in some cases stablecoin with no loss, right? And in some cases, some of it has impermanent loss. Some of them have solved that problem. The opportunity to get yield on your money with the ease of cryptocurrency, being able to send it from point A to B with no limitations, right? Being able to send millions of dollars to do this with no financial bank getting in the way is a killer application. And these guys are taking this money off the exchanges. They're sending it to these platforms and locking them away. They're locking them away, which adds to the case of Ethereum. Ethereum increasing in value, and people are FOMOing in. This is why the price has been doing so well. Even more, right? This is a big problem, Ethereum. Okay, they recently had the Berlin hard fork, which gave a better price feed for basically gas costs. Okay, it's a very simple explanation of it. You guys could look more into it if you have to. We've had times where the transaction fees just went ballistic and the price dropped. Recently, the transaction fees have been pretty reasonable. It's not reasonable, but in comparison to before, it's reasonable. So this is probably added to this. People are FOMOing in. Okay, Ethereum has the ability to actually fix their fee model. We have EIP 1559 coming out, which is also going to increase it. We have the Ethereum 2.0 and the staking. Guys, a lot of people miss this, but just the staking alone locks up the money for like a year to 2 years. So 2022, there's a lot of money locked away in DeFi and staking. The people are not taking into consideration that Bitcoin has some of these features as well, but it's obviously way more adopted with Ethereum. Here's just the top indicator. We have the new poll index. As you can see, when we get to blue, euphoria starts to kick in. We're recently touching blue, but remember, we've been in it, like as you can see here, it was blue for months. So I don't think the top is in at all. And I think that it's going to reflect in the future. It's probably get a little bit more green, stay in the green territory. We could definitely see the price increase more even after blue, but I genuinely do not believe the top is in for Ethereum. Now, we could even talk about, the decentralized applications, MetaMask growth. Look at this growth. This is parabolic growth. It's increasing, doubling, right? And MetaMask monthly users is getting absolutely ridiculous to 5 million active users on MetaMask. More and more people are starting to get involved in this because MetaMask, if you guys don't know what that is, essentially a decentralized application that you can connect with essentially a wallet. So if you guys don't know what MetaMask is, essentially a wallet that you can connect with any decentralized application to transact on it. It's like a new way of, if you guys ever been to a website, we have to log in with your email, you log in. It's the same thing, but in a decentralized way. And people have been using it. Obviously, 5 million is ridiculous. The user base is getting absolutely insane. And this also reflects right here. The Ethereum unique addresses have been going pretty much parabolic too. This is linear growth, but you can see there's a little curve to it. And more people are using Ethereum at an active rate. And we've already talked about the average transaction fees kind of coming down recently. We're still getting all this activity, Ethereum breaking all-time highs, but the transaction fees on average have been down. And the gas cost, which is reflecting the same thing. We're pretty much down right now. It used to spend like $75 for Uniswap transaction. It dropped it down for like 15, 25 bucks. So that's a really good thing. Ethereum is very slow and it has issues that we all know, right? If you've been in cryptocurrency for any period of time, there's always the argument that Ethereum is essentially going to get weeded out because we have other blockchains that are faster and cheaper. I'm just going to make the case for this video. That's not necessarily it, okay? And I'll explain exactly why. You guys will understand me after this video because I still have Cardano. I still have Polkadot. I still have a lot of the layer ones, and I do think they're going to have a role. But just hear me out on this one, because we have scientific studies pointing to a different case. And I'm talking about recent scientific studies. I'm not talking about the old ones, right? The ones I've already talked about. I'm talking about recent studies. So basically, Ethereum 2.0, regardless of all the slow transactions, is going to be rolled out in 2021, 2022. They're looking at it. They have a couple of scaling solutions like optimism and stuff like that, and we'll go over that stuff. But Ethereum 2.0 is supposed to solve the clog network, disk space, and too much energy. There's something called a trilemma, and this is the reason why it's taken so long. So basically, there's three factors. There's security, decentralization, and scalability. When you try to hit one, you kind of sacrifice the other. So they're trying to efficiently solve all three at the same time. And it's actually harder than you think. They have a couple things that are happening. We just rolled out the beacon chain. Now we're jumping into sharding change, 64 different change. Basically, they're splitting up Ethereum to 64, which will allow them to test transaction fees on each different chain. So the chain will be used in different cases. Maybe there will be one chain for DeFi. Maybe there won't be one chain for NFTs, whatever the case is. Having more chains will give you more throughput, right? And then they're eventually going to dock it and integrate Ethereum, the regular Ethereum, into Ethereum 2.0, which will be a mass migration, which is like the first coin to ever do this type of migration, which is really interesting. But just understand that these guys are developing actively. They're making improvements, and they realize that like the loss Ethereum against some of these layer ones have really has really kind of put a fire under them to push them to move faster. I've showed you guys this chart over and over again. Let me just pull it up one more time because I thought I already had it up. But basically, these layer ones were eating Ethereum at one point, and I told you guys Ethereum has been pushed into a corner. Ethereum had to make it or break it. Let me show you. So we can see Cardano, ADA, and Polkadot, as well as Binance Chain. You can see that this is a chart looking at ADA, BNB against ETH, and DOT against ETH. You can see at one point they were just dominating them. We had this massive spike, and then Ethereum came in and kind of just like I said, they were backed against the wall. They had to do what they had to do. And the percentages on Ethereum have recently been doing really well. Let me just explain this chart. If this chart goes up, that means that these layer ones are doing better than Ethereum. If the chart goes down, that means Ethereum is doing better than layer ones. And recently, as it has fought back very, very hard. Just to be honest with you guys, to make money on cycle trading on a side tangent, it might be a smart idea, like at some point, which I'll try to find support here, maybe around this range, where I'll take some Ethereum profits, cycle it back into the layer ones, and the layer ones might go in a rally again. Like I don't see these layer ones going away in any shape or form. I'm just making the argument that Ethereum's going to win at the end of the day, right? Which is not a bad argument. It's a pretty sound argument. Let's go into this recent upgrade, which is like an EIP 1559. Essentially, what they're doing is they're trying to make the price structure for the gas price, which is the amount you pay per transaction, to be a little bit more accurate and not benefit just the miners. They're trying to make the user experience for Ethereum better before they upgrade to Ethereum 2.0. So in this current system, newly submitted transactions must wait to be included into the next block by a miner, but they can incentivize miners to include their transaction by increasing the gas price parameter higher than the network average. Miners, if they are being rational, will always be looking to fill the blocks with transactions that maximize their payout, and thus the transactions included in the next block can be always expected to be the ones with the highest gas price. Essentially, the feature that allows us to increase our gas price is giving them incentive to only accept the high transaction fees to be included in the block. I'm not going into exactly consensus mechanisms and proof of work and proof of stake. You guys should already know that. And if you don't know that, I highly recommend you guys look for an educational source or something like that. If you didn't know, I have a program called Fundamental Secrets. You can click the link below and talk to my coach. It's basically what I use to look at these low market cap gems, to look at the fundamentals behind projects, weed out the bad ones, look at the good ones, long-term investing, money made, et cetera, et cetera. Let's move back into exactly what we're talking about here. But the current system is benefiting the miners a lot. These guys are making a lot of money because they could just pick the transactions and gas costs with the highest fees and include them in the block. And then anyone that's trying to go cheap, they can make them wait. The trouble with this in the first price action model is that things can get out of hand quickly in times of high demand. When blocks are close to full, the cost of getting a transaction included to the next block can spike dramatically as users try to outbid each other for the inclusion. Now, the EIP 1559 introduces the concept of a base fee in the gas that is set to dynamically adjust so that the overall gas users in the block moves towards the current limit of 10 million gas. Rather than going into the pockets of miners, the base fee is burned, which is really important because if they implement EIP 1559, it will essentially make Ethereum deflationary. Now, people talk about Bitcoin being specifically deflationary. It's not deflationary, but the amount of Bitcoin that comes out is lowered. In this case, it's actually deflationary. They're burning the Ethereum, right? Which is really good for the price of Ethereum and you know, the future of it increasing. To provide incentive for inclusion, users specify a tip parameter together with the maximum amount they're willing to pay for the transaction to be included in the block, and the miners keep the tip. So it's a tipping system rather than a bidding system. And because the base fee is burned rather than given to the miners, there is no incentive for the miners to try to manipulate the fee. Importantly, the mechanism also attempts to solve the big problems for wallet developers, automatically trying to estimate network fees by making them much more predictable. So long story short, they're making the user experience and the fee model a lot better so that people getting into decentralized finance don't get turned off by spending $7,000 in transaction fees, which I do, unfortunately, because I have to test these protocols to make sure they're good before I invest in them. So I've spent so much money. It is a headache to spend $100 for transaction fee. It is. I mean, I do have a lot more money than most people in crypto, not most, but I do have a lot more money, and you know, $100 is still worth it for me, but it just sucks. It's not power to the people, right? There's so many people with small less, you know, capital that won't be able to pay $100 transaction fee because they're losing 50% of their investment on a swap, right? The Binance chain capitalized on this by making it so they can integrate Ethereum products onto the Binance chain. The transaction fees there are 25 cents, and you can see the price of Binance and the yield farming and these applications go crazy. You can see them go crazy because of just the people that can't afford Ethereum transaction fees are buying the same products on a different blockchain. So you could definitely see there's a massive problem that needs to be solved. Now it's interesting because just to kind of add to the story, there was another mechanism that was basically talked about called the escalator, which this guy came out with this model that can escalate the price. Long story short, let's just read it. To facilitate a more productive, concrete decision about the gas fee market, I felt it was important to present an alternative that is clearly superior to the status quo so that any claim properties of EIP 159 can be compared to a plausible alternative improvement. So what they're trying to do is just, again, increase the fee structure. The main advantage for the escalator is that it enables highly efficient price discovery while at the same time protecting users from overpaying by charging a second price in the queue. So as you can see here, this is kind of like the escalator, the price changes, and this is like a literal kind of representation of different models that you could see inside of like MetaMask when you're doing a swap. Here's just different things like you could edit it by doing like the time and how much you're spending, and then you have advanced network fees. There's just different options. These guys have been arguing, trying to come to a conclusion on what they're going to do. But at the same time, they're rolling out something called optimism. So the recent developments of Ethereum have been basically something called layer 2 solutions, basically optimistic rollups and ZK rollups used in conjunction. I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole nother video. But long story short, they're kind of just short-term fixes to ride out this bull run, because as you guys can see, you know, they're not going to be integrating this till like, you know, 2022. As you can see here, the docking and integration to Ethereum 2.0 won't happen till 2022. So they have these things like optimism to come out. Now, right now, we're basically in a hackathon testnet, which is called Rayonism, right? They're essentially trying to hack the testnet, and then they're going to launch it publicly so that people can work on it more and more. So this is like active development for so many different people, so many revolving doors and different variables that go into making this happen. So they're just doing it very safe, in my personal opinion. I know they're taking a long time, but you know, I think it's better to do that. It's easy to say, you know, with Polkadot and Cardano that, oh yeah, they're taking so long. But the network effects of Ethereum are bigger than any other cryptocurrency. So if they break it, they can ruin cryptocurrency. Guys, think about this stuff, right? So I genuinely believe that the way and the time it takes them to get it done, it's acceptable, right? They're just getting it done as best as they can. But right now, we're basically in this hackathon. When it ends, as you can see here, it started April 16th. May 14th, it ends. They're going to potentially launch the public testnet so that more developers can work on scaling Ethereum. But yeah, like I talked about in this chart here, it might be a good, you know, it's hard to tell, but I'm going to be investing in layer ones eventually. I'm going to jump into some others in comparison to Ethereum. So we have to look at this from a realistic perspective, because we hear two sides of the story, right? With layer one solutions or you know, the web 3.0, we have two sides of the story. We have, oh, Ethereum is basically, you know, the network effects are unstoppable, right? We have the whole, hey, these guys are going to be, you know, continuing to adopt more because of the simple fact they just already have too much adoption. Now, that's a really good argument, but we have other layer ones like Cardano, Polkadot that could potentially steal their client base, right? Now, I'm just going to pose, again, you know, I'm not like all in on anything. I always look at both sides of the story, but I'm going to propose Ethereum might win the game. And let me show you why. And this is a report. This is a little bit old. They always come at it, once a year, a little bit late, from Electric Capital, basically talking about developers. What I want to show you is that there's a fight to quality. So high quality ecosystems are growing while others are shrinking, right? Now, I know this firsthand because straight up, like, you don't want to start developing on a blockchain that doesn't get used because it's a big ass waste of time, right? Developer activity is Developer activity is particularly strong against Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some layer ones in decentralized finance. I don't want to go into this whole report. You guys can read it for yourself. It's a free report. Long story short, Ethereum gained more developers by any other platform. The developers are clearly deciding to use Solidity, which is the programming language of Ethereum. If I can find the actual report, Ethereum is clearly, as you guys can see here, gaining more developers than anybody else. People are deciding to use Solidity because of how developed it already is, right? And the network effects are increasing. This is a report that you guys can refer to yourself. This video will be way, way, way too long. But I want you to see kind of like what they're saying at the top here. Ethereum and other layer ones is a fight to quality, right? They want to go to quality because they don't want to waste their time. They're making these apps. They want to make sure that their app system lasts long term, right? So again, Ethereum by far, dominating other layer ones when it comes to developer activity, which is creating products, guys. Where the developers go, it's kind of like the first wave. If all developers are going to Solidity, that's a big answer. Now, obviously, we have Cardano coming out with the solution to basically transmit the code and Solidity to the Cardano platform. And then we have Polkadot coming out with similar developments. We have the Binance chain already having that. And they can basically, incentivize these guys to come to another network, which is a really good case. But let me just show you this scientific paper here that I ran into. And it is very lengthy, and you guys could definitely read it for yourself if you want to. And this is just a summary of the scientific paper. If you guys want to really look into it, all you have to do is Google search this right here. I'll give you the scientific paper, but I like this article because it summarizes. The scientific paper is like, it's very hard to read. It's something you have to read on your own. But as you can see here, PC applications were client-based, meaning that they actually lived on computers. Back then, the softwares and network effects were strong. The value of Windows increased dramatically as the number of developers writing apps for it climbed, topping 6 million at the peak of its popularity by the late 1990s. Windows seemed entrenched as a leading platform. However, internet-based apps, which worked across different operating systems, took off. The network effects of Windows diminished and the barriers to entry fell, allowing Android, Chrome, and iOS operating systems to gain strength and PCs on tablets. Mac shipments also began to rise in the mid-2000s, increasing more than fivefold by the end of the decade. This turn of events illustrates that when an incumbent's network effects weaken, so does the market position. Now, I'm just going to go briefly over and give you kind of my thoughts on this. If we look at the actual, like I told you, all you have to do is search this. If we look at the actual paper, you can see that basically, long story short, if there's network interconnectivity, so if Ethereum continues to gain this adoption through its applications, it basically, I just want to make it like very simple for you guys because it can get very deep. And I asked some of my people in Fundamental Secrets to look into it for themselves and read it for themselves. But the more clustered a network gets, right? And what I mean by clustered, it's like kind of like Craigslist, right? If you really think about Craigslist, it is a global website. Craigslist happens, pretty much everywhere. You can get Craigslist in any part of the world, but it's more cluster based, right? It's more community and local based because you're buying things locally, right? You're buying like that car from that guy on Craigslist up the street or whatever the case is. So if there's networks that are more clustered, they're easier to be taken. As you can see right here, right? Third, stronger interconnectivity between markets may or may not make the incumbents more defensible. When advertising is costly, okay, I'm not going to read into that, but the overall gist is that network interconnectivity it's much bigger than you guys think, right? The fact that Ethereum is pretty much solving every problem makes it more defensible against Cardano and Polkadot. And the reason I say that is because these are big interconnected networks. These are world networks. These are not clusters, right? This is not like Ethereum is not just being adopted in only the United States, right? And for example, Cardano is kind of smart because the only way to fight against this interconnectivity is to take over certain places. And as you can see, Cardano in Africa and their education system, right? So Cardano looks like it's making headway. But the long story short is that being that Ethereum is becoming more and more the Internet 3.0, it's a lot harder. It's a lot more difficult for other networks to come in and just take market share unless Ethereum becomes more clustered and more local based, which we know that's not going to be the case because it's an internet web 3.0 thing, right? It's the internet, right? Internet's the most interconnected thing on planet Earth. So for, Chrome or Google to be overtaken by another search platform is like virtually impossible. So when people talk about superior products, right? When they talk about, oh, well, it can lose because of Facebook get lost to like Instagram or something. It's because Facebook had these small groups. If you look at how Facebook, and I've heard so many people talk about this, and I want to just pose the other side because they're both really good arguments. But if I look at the other side, okay, Facebook had these small communities. That's how it originally got popular with the groups, and them coming together, right? A lot of those groups simply migrated to other platforms. They had these small little groups and they went to somewhere that's better. So I could see in that case how it's an actual fact, right? I could see that if there's these small clusters and these little local networks, all the competition has to do is go to that local network and just adopt and just dominate there, right? So for Craigslist, there's a Craigslist alternative to come in. All they have to do is dominate this one small place. But the fact that Ethereum's interconnected across the world makes it really hard because they have to attack it and all local networks simultaneously at the same time, right? They have to attack everywhere at the same time. So guys, I'm not going to go into it too much because again, this video is already too long, but if you look into it for yourself, you'll get what I'm saying. And it dabbles in both areas and gives you a unique perspective into network effects. So I highly recommend that you guys look this up. Network interconnectivity and entry into a platform, into markets. It does dabble on both sides of the story, and it does have to do with like advertising costs and a lot of different variations. But I don't think just because Cardano has faster transaction fees that they're immediately going to win, and Polkadot, which people have been saying over and over again, I just think that it's a little bit deeper than that. So that's all I'm saying is just look deeper into what they have to offer. So let's go into the actual price prediction. Let's start getting our hands dirty. I'm going to predict it in a couple of different ways that I think is really relevant, including the dot-com bubble. Now, this is a chart by Benjamin Cohen. He always talks about logarithmic regression on different charts. And as you can see here, they're kind of indicating that we could see, above $16,000 Ethereum. So that's one prediction right there off of just straight data science, which is really interesting. And I think that's, kind of accurate, to be honest, if we look at other things. Here's another one. Now, obviously, like I told you guys, Ethereum's looking to make software for pretty much every business, right? They want to be Web 3.0. They're adopting on the internet. They're taking over the internet. So these big internet companies like Microsoft Corporation, they reached a high in the dot-com bubble, right? There's a dot-com bubble. There was a height. Now, all I did was take the top 5 biggest companies, okay? Let's take the top 5 biggest companies. Let's pull out the calculator and let's do some math really quickly to see if, for example, Ethereum just adopts the top 5 biggest companies in a dot-com bubble, where can the price be, right? So let's take the 561 billion, right? Let's add that market cap plus Cisco Systems, which is 5554. Yeah, that's 5. It's billion plus 509. 509 million, 509 billion, plus 245, 245. That's million, billion, plus 215. It's interesting, guys. Interesting stuff here. That's billion equals $2 trillion market cap. All you have to do is divide it by the circulating supply of Ethereum, right? If we go to Ethereum, all you have to do is look at Ethereum circulating supply. Now, I know this is not perfect. I'm fully aware of that, guys. Fully aware. This is why price predictions are not always the greatest indicator, but it just tells us the potential where it can go, right? That's all it's telling us, right? Divided by circulating supply. And it's basically saying kind of the same story as the logarithmic regression. We're looking at an $18,000 Ethereum. So it's really interesting to see that because, like, if we do some numbers right now, and let's say hypothetically, even if you just put, $1,000 into ETH right now, you're going to get about 1/3 ETH. So let's just say 0.3 because the price is currently you're going to get less, right? Let's just say you bought 1 ETH just for the shits and giggles, right? So we're basically going to turn 3,442 into approximately $18,000, which is like what? That's like it's like a 5-6x on your money, which is really good. Considering the bull market is like we're far into the bull market. So I think that's really interesting. And then it's kind of the same case for the other one. Now, let's take it a little bit deeper, right? let's look at it from a different perspective. Now, let's look at it from the perspective of history, right? So I'm going to go over here and I want to show you something. Like I told you, at one point, we almost passed Bitcoin by market cap. Right here. You guys see it? Bitcoin almost passed Ethereum. Right there. You guys see it? Now, look at the market capitalization in comparison to others. 31.17%. Ethereum, it had the dominance of 31.17%. So all you have to do is look at something that a lot of people have been measuring Bitcoin with. Now, this is obviously an underestimation. So people have been saying that Bitcoin can eat the market cap of gold because it has the same properties. Gold is a $10 trillion market cap approximately. Okay. So what I usually say for my predictions to underestimate, because you always want to underestimate with these predictions. You don't want to like be overly optimistic. I look at let's say hypothetically, all of cryptocurrency, everything about cryptocurrency is worth $10 trillion. We're currently at what, like 2 trillion? We're currently sitting at 2 trillion, 2 billion, 700 million, whatever. Yeah, we're currently sitting at 2 trillion. So all I'm saying is it's going to 5x. Yeah, it's going to 5x, a little bit more than 5x. So if the market cap of all cryptocurrency 5x's and Ethereum increases in dominance, gets to the point where it's almost passing Bitcoin, which we saw in history. So I'm not pulling this from anywhere like crazy, right? 10 trillion times 31% market cap. That's what we're getting for Ethereum's market cap. So all we have to do is 10 trillion. That's 100,000, 1 million, 100 million, 100 billion, 10 trillion, right? And then multiply that by 31%. That's a $3 trillion market cap. Divide that by the circulating supply, right? Which we just did. Let me just pull up the Ethereum circulating supply, which is right here. And remember, the circulating supply is kind of deflationary now because they're burning fees, but they're also increasing at the same time. So it's good to say, just keep it for what it's at now. There's no way to predict the circulating supply. We divide it equals, now that's saying $26,000 Ethereum. So you could turn potentially 3,500 into $26,000. Now we're looking at more close to like an 8x, right? So again, big time predictions, guys. Big time predictions. Honestly, like I used to predict Ethereum $8,000 to $10,000. Like it's way past $10,000 in my personal opinion. Now, one last kind of look at what's going on here, just to see, from history as well. Do some technical analysis. You could see the last cycles were pretty dramatic. Let me just get this out here. You can see at one time we had a 5,337% increase. The second time, which was in 2017, we had a 26,000% increase. All I did was take the average of these two, and when you look at a price here, we're looking at an $18,000 Bitcoin. So in my personal opinion, we're looking at an $18,000 Ethereum. So in my personal opinion, from a price prediction standpoint, I think I vastly underestimated Ethereum. I think Ethereum will most likely get above 15 grand per coin. I genuinely believe that pretty much all metrics, what's going on in the world, internet adoption, Web 3.0 adoption, institutional demand, retail adoption, all these different features, right? Even if like Cardano takes network effects and stuff like that, even with all these variables, Ethereum can easily get above $15,000. And some of our crazy estimates are saying it can get to $26,000 per ETH. Guys, cryptocurrency is still lucrative. Altcoin season is continuing. I've been screaming this. People did not believe me. People were saying I was wrong. Look at this. How can I be wrong? We passed this previous resistance aggressively. We're going up here. Look at Bitcoin dominance. Look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. It's clear as daylight. We passed 50% dominance. I told you guys, as soon as we passed 50% dominance on Bitcoin, we were going to go straight down. And then, you know what I did? I went to Fundamental Secrets, which is my digital course, and I put out a whole bunch of buy calls, a whole bunch of Ethereum, a whole bunch of altcoin buy calls, and they're all in profit, right? If you look at the indexes, if you use our cycle trading strategy, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just saying it's clear as daylight. Stop looking at individual products. Stop pumping your coin on some random YouTuber by spamming comments. It's not going to work. Guys, let's look at indexes. Let's take trading a little bit more serious. That's it for this video. That's price prediction. Ethereum is going to be above $15,000 per coin in the next 2 years or so. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Catch you in the next one. Alex here, quick update, quick announcement. Guys, I have a new community number. So I got a second phone. You could directly text me. I'm answering all questions. My new phone number is 954-758-5473. Again, that's 954-758-5473. I'm answering all comments. Go ahead and text me now. Let's have a conversation.